Fellas, today we're going to talk about opening up a credit card to start a Pokemon business. And is that a good idea or not? We'll get into it. Guys, it's Cole, and Pokemon cards are expensive. I know that the sealed products, they keep climbing up. So do singles, especially on the newer sets. And a lot of resellers use credit cards. And today I wanted to break down the pros and the cons of using a credit card and if it's something that you should do. We just opened up a credit card recently with Apple, and I was kind of surprised at the credit limit we were able to get for the family. You know, we're able to get $9,000. That's a lot of money. If we spent $9,000, it would take us 2 months of full-fledged just paying back the credit card company to cover that loan. That is absolutely insane. I've gotten a comment recently about not knowing what I'm going to say before I start the camera and start talking. So here we got co-pilot helping me out today. So guys, please bear with me. I'm trying something new, something different, just to maybe help out with the content a little more and maybe stop a little bit of the rambling. So let's get back to it. This video is aimed for the Pokemon resellers and those who love the Pokemon card hobby, who just want to scale a little bit more, who just want to buy some more. They just feel like they're missing out. Because in the last video, we talked about just having not enough funds to really get into it. You're watching all these investment videos, and I love watching them. I mean, they're a lot of fun to watch, and you see guys with product behind their head, and it just walls and lines of stuff. But they didn't start out there, and I wanted to point that out too. That's why I wanted to start this channel before I really had anything. Because I wanted to be real with you and let you know that in the beginning there is nothing there, and not many people like to show that. They like to show you what they have now and what they kind of learned as they gathered that. But I wanted to just start this channel to, allow you guys to grow with me, make mistakes with me, and show you how dark and how bright this business can be, and what we'll be doing from here on out, and talking more about the temptations that come with a line of credit to buy Pokemon cards, and the personal rules that I've wanted to start following, in getting into my job and investing in my 401k. I listened to a lot of Dave Ramsey, and I don't know if many of you guys know who he is. Maybe you do, but he had kind of just inspired me to just get my butt in gear, especially when it came to cars and paying off debt and all that kind of stuff. And that's hard to do, and to not put any investments in your 401k when you first start your job, and everybody's telling you to start young and just start putting money in there. It's hard because you don't have enough. You feel like you just don't have enough, and it takes a lot of years for that stuff to grow. And, that's kind of why we haven't really had any credit cards. Well, we decided to get a credit card. We had one with Apple in the past, and I think it was maybe $3,000 that we had before while I was still in college, and now we got $9,000 that we could technically spend on a credit card. And, I wanted to get into the temptation that I felt when that line of credit was given to us and starting this business. Because, man, I could start buying product right now on that line of credit. And, man, we could get this business going. And I want to get into what I'm deciding to do and the ideas that have kind of popped into my head ever since I've heard some, people suggest to take out a line of credit to start a Pokemon business, and kind of the dangers that you can get into doing that, but could have exponential returns in the future. You know, one of the reasons why it can be so tempting in the Pokemon hobby is because the limited windows you have to purchase product at maybe a certain price. You know, they can be really quick about trying to get you to buy right now. You know, you're gonna miss out, and it's really easy. Do it on a line of credit, and you know, when that FOMO gets you, I feel like that is the worst time to then do it on leverage. You can do it on credit. That is the worst time to then try to buy product. You know, but you don't always have the cash ready to go. That can be a pro, because then you can get the product. Say somebody comes to you with a collection that they're willing to sell, and you just don't have the funds. You know, you could take out a loan, and then you could buy that stuff from them. Maybe you do have the cash, because you'd probably be doing that for a personal collection. They take cash or check or whatever, and maybe you do have the cash, but you'd be tying up everything then, and you want to have some cash flow. So you take out a line of credit to help you in that way. You know, if they give you that, like we said, instant gratification, instant buying power, and credit cards are easy to use, and they accept payments almost anywhere, you know, except for those deals where you're paying cash for a personal collection or something like that. Credit cards also offer rewards for some free money that's out there, whether it's 1%, 3%, or, you know, flying rewards or hotel rewards, whatever it is. But, you know, everybody seems to be using them, and that can be a big temptation for you to get into. All right, let's get into pro number 1, and it is that you won't miss the restocks. You'll have the capital accessible, and you don't have to wait. You won't miss those booster box Pokemon Center EV drops. You won't miss the Charizard UPCs. You won't miss that special collection box. I mean, especially the important important drops are going to be happening now. We're getting really close to the 30th anniversary. You know, you won't miss those things because you have the cash technically in that credit card to spend. And you know, there are a lot of limited print runs that come in with the Pokemon product as well, and you won't miss those things. You don't have to tie up cash in that inventory because you have a credit card, and it'll allow you to rotate through that inventory faster, and allow you to kind of be more broad and open and start that churn and burn a lot quicker than kind of the way I'm starting right now. I mean, I've been, you know, making content now for a month. Still haven't bought anything, so I could see why the followers might be a little small in the beginning, because I haven't done anything yet. But I kind of wanted to prove to myself that I could get in front of this camera, start making content, and, you know, more or less just, you know, prove to myself that I could do this before I really spent too much in capital. Like, I've already got the domain and Google Workspace. I mean, in the end of the day, that's just going to be a couple $100, nothing big deal. But, you know, whenever I go to try to buy some Japanese product, that's going to be $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, you know, just to try to buy some stuff at bulk to get better prices. It's going to be hard in the beginning, but I understand that maybe the following might be a little bit smaller, and nobody really cares to watch videos right now because there is no product that I have right now, and I get that. Like, that's fine. I just wanted to prove that to myself, and I'm so appreciative of the subscribers that I have right now who are subscribed, and I don't even have anything. You know, they're just listening to me talk to myself. Got a comment on that too. Bro, you're talking to yourself. I was like, yeah, I know. I really am, and that's fine. You know, we're wanting to start this slow, and we'll get into that kind of in some of these notes that I have on, you know, why it's also important to start slow. All right, let's get into more of the rewards, cash back, and point stuff that come along with credit cards. I'm sure a lot of you guys don't need to hear this, but I just wanted to throw this in there so you can understand where my headspace is. You know, like we said before, you can get 1 to 3, maybe even 5% cash back. You know, travel points, sign up bonuses. You know, you can get to spend like $3,000, but then get $500 in equivalent money to buy. And you know, if you're already buying it anyway, it's like, well, why not? Why not get the 1%, 2% through? Like, that kind of stuff. That's cutting into my profits, and that's really tempting. I get that. You know, if you could save that, like, that's just more money to put in your pocket, and that you get to spend. But man, you gotta pay off the balance at the end of the month. And it's crazy to think that I've been making this content for a month, and it's like, if I would have already had product that I had purchased on a credit card, because I was all gung-ho, I'm doing this, and I hadn't made a video yet and hadn't really started a following yet, like, do I think I could have sold $1,000 worth of product by now? Probably not. Nobody would know where my store is. Nobody watches these videos, so how would anybody even find my store? And even if they do find the store, are they even willing to buy stuff? You know, that's one of the big reasons why I haven't got anything yet, because I need to create a following here on YouTube first. You know, let's get into, you know, some pro number 3. You know, we'll see if I'm an advocate for this or not by the end of it. But, you know, the credit cards also provide fraud protection. They, you know, purchase and dispute resolutions, and kind of useful for getting money back when there's a damaged product, missing product, or even somebody that you had purchased from kind of seemed a little bit sketchy in the purchasing process. That can happen. You know, there's many protections that it allow you to do because you didn't technically put up your cash. You know, a debit and cash don't protect you in the same way that a credit card could in those specific examples. But you know, I think that if you find yourself where somebody had fraudulently stolen your identity and stolen you know, the credit card, at least then it wasn't your debit card that you were putting up to purchase product. It was the credit card. You can freeze that. It didn't freeze up any funds in your account or nothing, and you didn't lose money. You know, whenever you open up a you know, checking account, you know, most banks have a $250,000 FDIC insured, you know, I would call it like insurance from the government to protect you in case any money was stolen. They would refund you that money stolen up to $250,000. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. I listened to Pokey, and it's like he's selling that in a month, more than that in a month. That's just crazy. Kind of, you know, whenever I hear those numbers too, I'm like, I feel like there's room for me to also enter in this and try to resell Japanese product and stuff like that. You know, I've been hearing too many times from Pokey Knowledge that we're early, and more I'm like, I'm late, but I'm like, I'm 26. A lot of these people I'm listening to, they're in their 30s, 40s, and I'm like, man, 5 years doing this and then 10 years doing this, it's like, what a difference, and what a different place we could be in doing this. And you know, comment below if you've been in this hobby for over 5 years now, because it's only been about 5 years since I kind of got back in, since I really started to take Pokemon a little bit more seriously and had money to spend and started spending money on Pokemon. Comment below and let me know how long you've been in the hobby, because I'm just trying to get back in, and you know, it's all kind of overwhelming, and I can tell it in my content, my videos. It's hard to know what to talk about, and you know, just trying to find ways that this business is going to challenge me and kind of talk about it. And this is one of those for sure. Very, very tempting. We've already talked about a little bit of getting product now, and you can with some credit cards, especially whenever you first start one, you might not have to pay off the balance in 60 days instead of just 30, and that's another pro. You don't have to worry about it for 2 months. It's like, man, I can sell this in 2 months, and it's like, can you? I don't know. What kind of following do you have? Do you have enough people who are be willing to buy stuff from you? Because it's going to be, for some people, it might be really sketchy in the very beginning to buy from somebody who just hasn't sold anything yet. It could deter a lot of buyers. And not only do you have to worry about that, but if you held on to the product and weren't able to sell it by the time that month had passed by, now you're looking at trying to fire sell it so you don't have to pay 15 to 30% interest on that credit line. And that's not a place I want to be in. Not at all. I started this so it'd be fun, and that just sounds stressful. I know there's going to be plenty of stressful stuff. Plenty. There'll be a lot of times where I'm going to be stressed out. But, this is just kind of allowing a short-term fix to something that is kind of underlying a longer-term problem that I would have if I just tried to dive straight into it with credit and get myself in a lot of trouble. And I don't want to lose my house. I don't want to lose stuff because I can't afford to pay this pay a credit card off. I think that this only works for those who would have the discipline to use that credit wisely. And I think that I do have the discipline to use it properly. Like I said, only doing 1,000, I wouldn't get myself in too much trouble. But at the same time, it's like, what kind of risks? If I'm willing to take risks at 1,000, what kind of risks am I willing to take at 10,000? And so forth. And that kind of just scares me. That's where my headspace is right now. Doing it in the very beginning, what am I willing to do in the end? Type deal. I kind of want to just prove to myself that I can handle it with my own money first, and then maybe we can introduce some some credit or some leverage to purchase some product. So let's get into the cons. And the first one I just touched on is high interest. Anywhere from 15 to 30%, which is crazy. And the Pokemon margins are not very high. I'm only looking at maybe 10 to 20%. Uh-oh. Boys are awake. We were talking about interest rates and how the margins on trying to resell Pokemon isn't the highest, anywhere from 5 to 15%. We'd be getting hit with interest rates higher, double that, and that would quickly ruin any profits that I made at reselling anything. And so, as soon as I miss one payment, it's like, there goes profit probably for the month. And it can quickly get out of hand. I think that's kind of the stipulation that would make this a little bit harder on me, because I'm wanting to at least make as much profit as I could and not lose it just because I decided to get into it too fast. I'm okay with the smaller margins, but as soon as something starts eating into that I could have prevented, that wouldn't sit well with me and could quickly get me out of the business just as quickly as it tried to get me into the business. There's also not guaranteed profit. What if I want to buy a set and I didn't know about a reprint that had just came out, and now all of a sudden the hype dies down, and the and the price of it starts dropping on me, and the market value starts dipping. I'm stuck holding the bag on leverage, and I would have to sell it all at a huge loss. Once again, cutting into profits. And two, whenever those kinds of things happen to me, I want to then kind of be like a slight investor and like hold on to them. You know, if they start to drop, or, you know, kind of dollar cost average back into it to try to lower, you know, the buy-in price that I'm at, to then sell it at a profit later. You know, that just seems more enjoyable than trying to fire sell it all, because I purchased it all on leverage, and could also quickly get myself into that position if I spent all of my capital on a certain product, and that'd be extremely you know, hard, scary, and I know it probably will happen. I'm not naive to that, but trying to at least mitigate the opportunities that would happen to me. You know, and at the end of the day, I'm also kind of speculating on the Pokemon market that'll continue to go up to get into this, and it could very easily start to go down, and we never see some of the highs that we're at right now again. But I don't believe that, so that's why I want to do this, but it very well could happen. We talked about being wealthy before, and doing this could make you rich, and it also could bring you to zero. That is a risk that I'm willing to take to try to make money in this business, and getting back into Pokemon. You know, a big con for me too right now is the emotional spending that I feel like I could get myself into in the FOMO. You know, the credit cards would remove some of that pain of spending. You know, I don't see money coming out of the account whenever I just dropped a couple $1,000s. You know, also allowed me to kind of have that mindset of figuring it out later. And you know, I don't want to put myself in that situation where I'm now trapped between this product that I now have that I can't sell, and now a future 20% interest coming out of, you know, a couple of $1,000s. And early on, it could completely decimate anything that I've built and cut me out of the hobby right then. I'm not trying to do this for some quick gains, and I'm hoping I'm kind of proving that, but I haven't bought product yet. I could have easily started buying product on credit and started trying to sell it, but I haven't, because I know I'm in this for the long haul. It's not for short, quick gains and flip product as fast as possibly can. That is the idea, but you know, not with as much leverage as I can possibly manage. I'm in this for the long haul, and you'll learn as I put out more and more content and things like that. I'm very slow and methodical, and I'll miss the boat 1,000 times, but at least I'm willing to hop on one of them at least. So, you know, I think that a lot of hype is out there, and getting into credit and leverage can easily start to influence me, and I don't want to be buried in debt. You know, I can also see the idea that it also brings in some fake progress, that I might think I'm making a profit or doing well in the business just because there's been $10,000 that was moved this month. And it's like, yeah, but I also was late paying back my loan after it went over the month, and I had to pay interest, you know, and then that profit quickly went away. It can also kind of give me that fake idea of progress, and, you know, making my inventory, like I said, I don't have anything behind me on a shelf yet. You know, I can make it look like I have such a large inventory and make it look awesome, but you guys don't know behind the curtain. I've got thousands of dollars in debt that's accruing interest behind me, and that's the last place I want to be, because this content in this channel is supposed to be very transparent in how we're handling this, and I could see the shame that would bring upon this channel if I started to hide the idea or the fact that, hey, we're not doing well. We're about to go under. We haven't even started, so don't take that out of context. You know, I just could see where it would be very enticing, and a lot of people are probably doing it. I've had this conversation with my wife many times, that the people who have really nice houses, have really nice cars, like, you don't know how they got all that. And I'm willing to bet you a lot of them have gotten it off of debt. And that's okay. You know, if that's the kind of lifestyles that you want to live, that's fine. Like, you're able to make the payments, that's cool. But don't, you know, take off the rose-colored glasses and understand that people are also now kind of chained to that debt that they owe on that car, on that home, on those nice things, you know, jewelry even, and watches. I mean, I could easily go down the rabbit hole of the watches that I could buy with this new credit line that I just got, and could get myself into a lot of trouble, a lot. You know, and you know, I don't want to skip those fundamentals of starting this business from scratch, you know, doing the market research, and going through all the exit strategies to whenever I buy some product. You know, scaling, if I start scaling debt, it could be very, very dangerous. Just because I have a big inventory, that does not equal a successful, just because I have big inventory behind me does not equal a successful inventory or a successful business. And, you know, when would using a credit card actually make sense in this business? And I feel like it would make more sense once I have kind of established myself. I've already established that I can resell this for profit, and I've already started to be able to track what kind of expenses and profits I do have, and I'm able to, you know I have this money coming in. Like, on average, I do this every single month. That would make me feel a little more confident. I have not done that, so I do not feel confident in what I can make every single month. I just have to prove to myself that I would be able to pay off the loan when the time came to do that. You know, I don't want to treat it like I'm gambling. I want it to be a business tool in the future, and I think that comes with being established a bit more. You know, if I wouldn't purchase it with cash, I wouldn't purchase it with credit, and that will come a little bit later as I potentially get offered by one of you guys a collection or something. And I don't want to tie up all of my capital. You know, some of the personal rules that I want to follow, and maybe might even recommend, you know, disclaimer, you guys can do whatever you want. But I don't want to carry Pokemon debt over the long term. Like, that would never be the suggestion to make towards anybody, and I'm not going to be following that. You know, I'm also gonna have the one card, if I had a credit card that I use for purchasing product, like, it's gonna be the only one, and it's also not gonna be used for anything else, only for the business. You know, and if I dig into it, I'd have to set myself up with just like a cap of how much I'd be willing to spend. Like, giving myself that limit would allow me to mitigate, my, what kind of pressure I'm going to be putting on myself to resell that, and any other kind of exit plan that I might want to have. I need to have one, and having a credit card can kind of make that a little bit scary, because I don't want to get into fire selling what I've got. And the rewards that we talked about in the very beginning, that's not the goal. The goal is to try to make a profit reselling Pokemon cards. And the goal is not all the bonuses, the 1-3%, and the travel rewards, all that kind of stuff. And also, if the sales start to slow down, what happens then? I would have to stop spending. And I don't necessarily want to do that, because there'll be times where spending starts to slow, but I need to purchase products that are getting offered to me at really low prices, and then I can't, because I don't have the capital. I have these debts that I have to pay off, and I don't have the capital. I don't want to, get caught where I can't take advantage of some really good deals. In this video, to kind of conclude, I don't want to say that credit cards are evil. We just opened up a line of credit, so I clearly don't think that they're evil, but they're not magic either. They kind of amplify the discipline that you can have, or the bad habits that you have, if used incorrectly. And if used correctly, they can also help you scale. And if not, then they can absolutely wreck you. I want to make Pokemon fun, and then kind of profitable up there, close to fun, kind of close second, because I do want it to be fun. I'm doing this because I want to get product out there. I want to get product, so that's a big part of getting back into this. And I need a big profit if I'm wanting to keep purchasing stuff. And the debt would be very last on that totem pole. So since I'm new, I'm wanting to start with cash, and whenever I'm a little bit more experienced, I can be more intentional with leverage. Just let me know what your experience is. If you feel like opening up a line of credit was how you need to get started, and you did that and you had success, let me know. I mean, that'd be really, really cool to hear your story. This is my journey and how I'm wanting to start it. And I'm feeling like I want to do it with cash to begin with, and then we'll do the credit and the leverage once we build up some experience, kind of have that average, revenue that we're bringing in before we start purchasing anything on leverage. So please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.